I have been antsy all episode long because I want this pick so bad. I love this pick. It's my. I'm gonna double down on it too. That's how much I love it. I'm gonna take the risk. I'm gonna double down. I am going for fade me. Give me the.
Oh, I don't love that. I don't love how confident you are in that. I don't love that. All right, welcome back to another edition of Head to Head. We got week number 8 in the NFL. Head to Head is the show in which me and Tasos battle head to head, though it hasn't been much of a battle this season, but we battle head to head each and every week of the NFL season, given our best NFL picks. Whoever comes out on tops with the most money made on the show is the winner for the week. I lost again last week, Tasos, meaning you are now 5-2. I don't want to say out loud that I'm 2-5. That sounds bad. I'm more comfortable saying you're 5-2 and forgetting about who the counterpart is here. How are you feeling after another dub of a week?
It feels good. I can't say I'm too surprised. I mean, if you tuned into any of Ev's live streams when he was on vacation, by the way, it looked like a good time. I kept saying it in the live stream, 2-5, 2-5. Like I spoke it into existence before the weekend slate even got here. So, I saw it coming, unfortunately for you. The writing was on the wall, it felt like. But it was close. Like, it was not, it wasn't a blowout. I won by, I think, like, barely any units.
Yep.
It was crazy. Like, fade me once again. The Seattle Seahawks, once again, win me another week.
A new cool strategy that you use too. If you guys don't know what the fade me round is, we'll get to that later on in the episode. But Tasos had the pick. He pretty much forced my hand, took a huge favorite, and it technically swung the pendulum there. So yeah. But Tasos, I will say, I don't know how you just get my number, right? Because I was let's see, I have it up on my other screen here. I was 11-3 last week in all of my picks.
Yep.
It just so happens a couple of those rolled into the head-to-head picks, and I don't understand. Like, I swept Thursday Night Football. I swept Sunday Night Football. Monday Night Football went 4-1. Like, what is it where you just catch me in the picks that I put on this show? You have, like, a hex or a curse on me here, because that's a few crazy NFL weeks that I've had in a row in which you've still been able to pick up a win in our head-to-head record.
Well, you know what the craziest part of it too is that, like, and I still don't know how I'm going to approach it come this week's college football video. I had a horrible week college football. I went 0-4 on my picks. It was a horrific week, and I was like, oh man, like I still don't know how I'm going to spin that when it comes to Friday's video. I'm still trying to think of what I'm going to say when I open that. I'm thinking of doing a seance to open the video, just a little, like, incense. Kind of clean up the vibes on that show.
Oh, that's going to be good. That'll be good.
It was bad. It was really bad. But no, and then on this show, we were even on, up until Fade Me, we both went 1-2. We both hit unders. Our under picks were the winners. And then it came down to Fade Me with Seattle. And, the Seahawks, they ended up, taking care of business. That strategy worked out in my favor. And yeah, so it was another great week. But Ev, I'm happy to tell you that we kind of teased it last week at the end of the show, that you have a chance this week to maybe catch up a little bit with our new segment, Double Down, which, of course, it's basically like our lock of the week. If there's a pick that we really love, once per show, you're allowed to take one pick and double down on it, and you can put 2 units down. Obviously, there's risk involved there, right? Because with 2 units, yes, if you win, you're winning more, but if you lose, you're also losing more. So got to be careful with that double down. But Ev, that was created kind of with you in mind because, you are struggling this year. So I figured I'd create a new little rule for you to kind of help you catch up a little bit.
I will say I'm going to use a double down this show. And on that note, we did say last week, you don't have to use it. Like, if someone doesn't want to, you have it in your pocket. They don't roll over. You get 1 per show. But I have to just, if I hit the double down, I feel like we keep saying double down. I'm like thinking double doink, and I'm like, oh no, bad vibes, get out my head. But if I hit it, I think there's a little momentum there that carries. So I will let everyone know, stay tuned for the video to see what I end up rolling with, but I am going to be doubling down on a pick in today's video. I'm calling my shot. I don't necessarily know exactly which of my picks yet, because we don't know what we're betting yet. If you don't know how the show works, we spin a wheel that dictates the type of play that we have to make: player prop, money line, spread, total, that type of thing. But I will be implementing implementing the double down. So we don't just announce it this episode, Tasos. I'm guaranteeing that it's going to be used at one point, which would be kind of anticlimactic if we announce it and then it's like, we're not using it this week. But
my watch going off. So here's the thing I'm going to ask you, because it's kind of up your alley. Are we going to see Alti Ev use a double down on this show? Like, are you going to use a double down on one of your alternate lines? Because that's risky. But the payout on those alternate lines you like to ride are crazy. The problem is Alti Ev is like 1 in 31 this year. So
yeah, just about. I think you might be generous there, but we could. I do have two alternate lines, alternate, not necessarily, I guess, lines on my board here. So we'll see what we end up getting to. But yeah, you want to jump in and get to the wheel?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, guys. Like I said, you'll see a wheel on your screen shortly. If you don't know what that wheel is, essentially, we're just looking to see, first off, we're going to see the draft order here. It is a snake draft. So this wheel that you see on your screen is going to spin. It's going to land on either me or Tasos, and that person gets to draft first, or gets to make their pick first. In a snake draft format, I get 2 in a row after that. But let's go ahead and spin it, Tasos.
I've been pretty lucky on the wheel. The wheel has been my friend all year long. If you watch the videos, you'll know that. The wheel has been my friend.
Well,
let's see. It's going to be you this week.
Yep, only 2 pie slices there. We do have a wheel for your boy. Okay, all right.
That's like the second time that's happened.
I like that. That's true. That opening wheel is like landing on you 90% of the time. I like that because I want to set the tone here. So we'll pop up the new wheel. This wheel is now going to dictate, are we doing a player prop, a spread, a money line? Now, we're recording this early in the week again, too, so not all the player props are out. So just keep that in mind, guys, as you're watching. But we got a bunch of pie slices on this wheel. Let's spin it.
All right. What do you like here, Ev? What are you thinking here? Like,
I got a couple spreads I like.
You won that first pick, and you won that first pick, and now I feel like you're money line.
Okay, I don't hate that because a couple of my spread picks that I like are close. So I got some deliberation to do in this dumb old brain of mine now, because what do I like here? All right, so again, the way this works, I have to now take a money line pick.
Don't think that you're 2 and 5. Just get that out of your mind.
Okay, thank you very much. Are you going to listen to my picks this week? Are you gonna...
That was bad. That was an all-time down bad moment. And honestly, when I went to go rewatch the show last week, it's not only the fact that you said it like 7 times.
I tried to talk you out of what you were saying. I tried to talk you, and you kept going.
I kept going, like, I'm watching, like, wow, like, I don't know what I was on at the time, but like you're like, I took under, and I kept going, and you're like, I took under, and then you said it a third time, and I'm like, I never read, like, the brain was working, but working in the wrong way. So
I like that you're like, this might be cut. You're like, this might be cut worthy, and I was like, no chance.
But
really
bad.
All right,
really bad.
All right. So I have a money line pick here. Tasos follows suit, and then we spin the wheel for next round. Money line. Oh man. Oh, is it bad that I'm starting off with a pick that I don't even know if I totally like, and I might just be falling into a trap here? Vikings money line taking on the Packers here, -110 odds. They're only -1.5 favorites. It was also one of my spread picks, to be completely honest. This Vikings team, we've said it all year long that they're better than they've been playing. Now, the 49ers weren't at full strength. They didn't play that great of football. But the Vikings did have they looked pretty good, definitely in the first half against the 49ers on Monday Night Football. I'm hoping they carry that momentum and take on this Green Bay team. Now, Green Bay has been struggling, 3 straight losses. In fact, they've only won 2 games this entire year, and those are against the Bears, who stink, and then the New Orleans, in which they had to come back from down 17 or something, right? So this Green Bay team is like, honestly, turning into a bottom of the barrel team, obviously. And I like the spot for Minnesota. Now, playing in Green Bay, never easy. I don't think the cold would be an excuse or anything like that in this environment. You know, Minnesota, that's not really a type of thing that would affect them. But I'll take Kirk Cousins sort of heating up. Even with the absence of Justin Jefferson, we saw the receivers play pretty well against the 49ers there. So I like Minnesota here on the money line. I would be lying if I said I didn't like the value a lot either. You know, I think that they are a better team here, -110 for a money line pick. That's as close as you're going to get taking a favorite team. So give me Minnesota on the money line.
This is like the first pick of yours, Ev, that I can't poke a hole in the logic of it. Like I love this pick. And the only thing I will say, and this is not anything that like, and I think the Vikings are going to win. I without a
Mhm.
doubt. The one thing that would scare me a little bit about this pick, because in real, I'm going to bet this myself. The one that scares me is that the money right now, like the public is hammering the Vikings, but
Mhm.
the sharp bettors are leaning Packers, and that's what scares me a little bit. There is the fact that like it's almost like I don't want to say it's a guppy pick, but it's kind of close to it because after they beat I mean, the Vikings beat the Niners on Monday Night Football. Everybody now is going to be all over the
Yep.
Vikings and like, oh my God, they just beat they just beat the Niners. Like, what the heck's going on? And they play Green Bay, who they have looked horrible the past few weeks. So it just feels like it's too easy of a pick. That's the only thing that scares me. But on paper, everything you said is correct. The Vikings are almost like the Pittsburgh Steelers when it comes to drafting wide receivers. Like, they draft Stephon Diggs. He wants out. They trade him. They draft Justin Jefferson. He's even better. Jefferson, now there's rumors he may want out. They draft Jordan Addison. He looks almost just as good. Like, it's crazy how they keep finding these star receivers. And Kirk Cousins, 1 p.m. Kirk Cousins in particular, is a monster. Like, this isn't prime
Yep.
time. This is the kind of game where he usually, goes off. And the Vikings have won 3 of their last 5 matchups. Versus Green Bay. Now the majority of those have been in Minnesota, but I like the Vikings here. I can't really argue the spot and the value for where the Vikings are. I think they're a significantly better team right now, and that at minus 110 odds, you really can't beat that. So Ev,
Right,
I give you
which
hats
is the
off, man.
scary part, though, right? Isn't that
Yeah,
they should be in the minus 145 to minus 150 range as like 3-point favorites. I'm not saying they're
yeah,
miles better because this Vikings team has struggled, like, and
yeah.
they've choked. They don't have their best weapon. But yeah, you kind of just added the cherry on top there. Like they are just a better team. I don't think you can beat those odds. Is it too easy? That could be like Green Bay's losing 3 straight. Minnesota's starting to heat up. Is this such a letdown spot for them? Could be, but I'll take it.
I just can't confidently bet on Jordan Love right now. Like
Right.
and like I said, this is a great spot for him to kind of, everyone's down on him. Everyone's saying, oh, it's time. The Packers need a new quarterback and all this stuff. This is a good spot against the Vikings defense. It's not that good. This is a good spot for him to maybe have a decent game, but at the same time, they haven't really been playing good defenses. Like the Broncos have one of the worst defenses. He couldn't throw on them. He threw 3 picks against the Raiders defense, one of the worst defenses. Like he's played bad against bad teams, and that's what's concerning to me about him is like if he was playing the Cowboys and the Niners and these good teams, then it's like okay, I can let it go. But
Mhm.
like you can't even score more than 20 points in the Broncos.
Right.
I
And the
it's
Minnesota
tough.
defense too. Minnesota defense, I don't think they're good, but I don't think they're as bad as we thought. They've played
No, they're better than we
Philadelphia,
thought. For sure.
Chargers, Kansas City, San Francisco. They've had, in terms of their defensive DVOA schedule rank, they're the 5th hardest in the league so far. Like, so they aren't. I don't think we're saying they're a good defense, right? Like I don't think that this
Yeah.
is a put together defense, but they've had a pretty tough schedule in terms of offensive talent that they've had to go up against. So I like the
Oh,
spot here. And
absolutely.
you brought up Jordan Love too. It's like this is a spot in which I'm definitely not even thinking about taking the Packers. So I
No, not at
lean
all.
towards the Vikings. In terms of this show picks, I want to lock it in.
All right. I hate that we landed on money line because I don't really have a lot of money lines. The Vikings were one of them on my list. I'm gonna take this one just because I don't like a lot of the underdogs this week. I'm not huge on. There's a couple that I'm leaning on, but nothing that I'm super confident. I'm gonna go ahead and take a pick here that I don't love, but it makes sense to me. I'm going Atlanta Falcons minus 130 money line against the Tennessee Titans. Now look, the Falcons. If you've watched any play action takes or this show, I have not been big on the Falcons at all. But the reality is they keep winning.
Yep.
And the Titans are a team. They are now blowing it up. They are officially entering a rebuild. They just traded Kevin Byard to the Eagles earlier this week. They're shopping DeAndre Hopkins and Derrick Henry. This is a team that's checked out now. Like this is it. They understand this is the end of their window. It's closed. Now it's time to tear it down and start over. And the Falcons, again, they don't. It doesn't make sense why they're so good because Desmond Ritter 3 fumbles last week, 3 interceptions the week before. Like he's not a good quarterback at all. They don't have Bijan Robinson last week versus the Bucks. Like that game was the fact that they won that game is just crazy to me. I don't love the Falcons as a team, but in this spot, I just can't see the Titans winning this game. They're only a 2.5 point favorite, which is kind of crazy. I think the Falcons should be higher. But I mean, Tennessee is actively tearing their team apart. Like they're actively trading away players. I can't confidently go with a team that is trading away its best players. So Give me the Falcons here, -130 money line. I don't love the spot, but out of all the money lines, this is the one I feel the most confident about.
Yeah, I don't think that there's anything I can say to like kind of hype up the Titans and say that no, the Titans would win this game. I will say at the end of the day, you're still betting the Falcons, which scares me a little bit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
even
absolutely.
still, Bijan Robinson should be back. I think
Yep.
he's probable for Sunday, right? The Titans' run defense is actually something that's been good this year, but nothing to like even really brag about or write home about. I don't hate the Atlanta side of things here. I think the only scary thing is much like as little as that my pick, right? The Minnesota Green Bay. It's kind of like, oh, it's too easy type of thing. My little concern would be that you're still betting the Falcons, in which, yeah, I mean they could go out there and score. They played who they played. The Lions, right? They didn't even look at all good against the Lions. They've had a few games this year in which they can't even score a touchdown, So
Yeah,
they're
they're the
but I don't hate
Titans of
it.
the NFC. The Falcons are the Titans of the NFC, where it's like they have a game where you're like, wow, this team is actually cooking with something, and then they lose by like 2 or 3 touchdowns, and you're like, oh
Yep.
yeah, this
Yeah.
team's not that good. The one
But
thing
sounds
I
like we
will add
agree.
about the
Two
Falcons,
picks in, we agree.
yeah, and the one thing about the Falcons, and I know this isn't necessarily related to the pick, but like what Bijan Robinson did last week should be illegal from a fantasy
That was
perspective, from
ridiculous.
a gambling perspective, and the fact that like there's no refunds on any of these picks because he played a couple snaps, so they
Yep.
can't refund like FanDuel and DraftKings, all these gambling apps, they can't refund picks. How do you not go on the injury? Like he was apparently sick. You dress up to play. He played like 1 or 2 snaps, and then he's like, "I have a headache. I'm done." Like, especially now in an age where like there's gambling, where there's fantasy football, there's so much money involved in the player props and the player side. I mean, obviously we know we bet player props. We do a lot of gambling content. The fact that Bijan could just do that and not even be like, not even to list him as a questionable in the injury report that like, yeah, he was sick. Like, you don't just get a headache out of nowhere like that and not play in the NFL. You know what I mean? So like, he
Right.
obviously was dealing with an illness. How the Falcons didn't report that, how that just went under the radar and he just ends up not playing is just crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean, even gambling, like even the fan or the consumer aside, it's like football is a sport in which you delegate your injuries or availability concerns all throughout the week. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's a little fishy. I think I've seen a few tweets about like they should be looked into for that and all that. Weirdly enough, it's a sickness, so I'm wondering if like they could always spin it off like, oh, he just got sick before the game, like some stuff that, oh, we never knew, even though they might have or did. But it is like as definitely as sports betting becomes legalized and whatnot, I think someone's crazy if they're like, oh, that'll never infiltrate the actual sport itself, right? Like there's fan bases that matter. We don't really know what goes into some of these rule changes or all that. So I mean, I'm not saying they'll change a rule or even fine the Falcons or do something because of sports betting. This is probably a bad example for that, but there are going to be changes and things that occur, I would say, because of sort of the changing of the world around sports with betting becoming legalized in most states.
Yeah, it just was a crazy thing because there already are rules about like you have if there's an illness or an injury you have to report it. It's part of the NFL. It's part of the NFL contract, like the NFL agreement with the NFLPA. Like you have if you're injured or sick, like I don't get me wrong, every player is battling injuries, so they don't report everything. But if it's an injury and illness that could possibly hinder your ability to play or show up to the game, it has to be reported. The fact that he suited up, and like I said, if it's just a headache, you're an NFL athlete. Like I have, not to compare, I'm an average Joe, but like if I can go to work 12 hours with a headache, I think you can play a 2-hour football game with a headache. You know what I mean? So like it's had to have been a much more serious illness.
Tasos is calling his shots here. It's like, Bijan, you're a wimp.
I have him in 3 fantasy leagues, and I had him in a prop bet. Like, okay, like I just, I'll be honest, like I'm a little salty about it because I was one of the people who were affected by it. I lost 3 fantasy games by like 10 points, and I had him in every single one of my lineups. And it's like, well, there you go. I could have put anybody else in, I would have been fine. But this guy
Yep.
Bijan just had to screw me. So, needless to say, I'm not on the Bijan hype train right now. I'm kind of off. I've hopped off a little bit. He kind of lost a little
Well,
respect for me.
well, I guess that's double motivation now of
Calling
you
you out,
taking
Bijan.
the
If you're watching the
yeah.
show, I'm calling you out.
Motivation. If he has a good game, wins you this round, then all of a sudden you're like, all right, Bijan, you're not that bad.
I might bet him again this week. I won't lie.
All right, we're gonna pop up the next round here. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of wish I doubled down on Minnesota money line, but
I actually,
I
the
just
more and more I'm thinking about that pick, the more and more. Not that I hate it, but I think you're better off not doubling down there. As a friend and trying to help you, like
it's too easy.
there is
It's
a
too
world where
easy.
there's a world where Jordan Love kind of cooks it up a little bit, and he actually looks decent, and they actually beat the Vikings. So it's a little kind of scares me a little bit actually. The more I think about it,
Fair
just
enough.
because whenever I see sharps are so heavy on one side, they're doing that for a reason. So and
Mhm.
I see a lot of action on the Packers side of things from
Yep.
professional bettors. So
All right. I kind of want an under here. I want an under
we did do well on unders last week. We did pretty
or
well on those.
total,
Yeah,
because then I could pick under. Oh,
exactly.
sit down, sit. Oh, keep going, keep going.
Oh, you got it. You
All
got
right.
your total.
Uh-oh, this
Wow.
is
Yeah.
bad. This is bad. I Babe Ruthed it. I wanted a total. I got it. Now I might be. I gotta. This is some serious like. The prosecutor wants to double down. The defendant. I don't know about this. This is
What's
tough.
scaring me here is the fact that the wheel has been heavily on your side here already.
Very true.
You've al- 3 for 3 basically on wheel spins for you, which has never happened before. It
Very
concerns me a
true.
little bit. The gambling gods are starting to show mercy on you a little bit.
Oh man. Oh man. Okay. All right. I think I got it. I'm going to talk through it. And then I think, obviously, as I speak about it, I got to establish the double down. We can't do it afterwards. The minute you start giving your pick, I can't go back. All right. That's
Yep.
the rule here. But I'm going to, as I discuss this, maybe I hype myself up. Then I'll decide at the end of this pick if it's going to be double downed on, because I want to do it. I am just a little bit of a puss and I'm scared to do it, if I'm being completely honest here. And if I double down, I almost want to go Altiev, but I don't think I'm going to. All right. I'm looking at the Saints and the Colts. I'm taking the under
Well, hold on.
43.5.
All right. I was going to interrupt you. Go ahead. You can make your pick.
Well, you go ahead, please interrupt
Well,
me.
no, I know you kind of you struggle with the format of the show, but it is a snake draft. So after you had the first pick, I had the second pick. The third pick should also be mine, but you already said your pick, so I'm gonna let you have it. You can go ahead and you can give your pick.
I
You
don't know if
already
I
said
should.
it,
That's such bad vibes for the double down.
and
If I'm
you
gonna
know
do
what?
it,
And the way you were talking, I'm like, oh, is he loading up to say it now, or is he's just
yeah.
like teasing his pick? I'm like, oh no, he's
Mm.
going for it. But go ahead. You already
heard
it's
my
already
pick,
out
right?
there. You might as well go ahead and say it.
All right. Do you want the snake next? Do you want to get back on track, or do you want
No,
the
no,
snake
no.
next round?
You can listen. You're 2-5. You need all the help you can get. So go ahead.
Oh no, I hate the vibes of that. I'm doing this, and I'm probably gonna double this one down, and it's such bad karma now. All right.
I think you're fine.
Oh,
I think you'll
man.
be okay.
All right. Comment round 2 in the comments if you just watched that absolute blunder. All right. Saints Colts under 43.5. -108 on DraftKings. I feel like I have to at least either swing for the fences now. I can't not double down this pick because such controversy about the draft order. So I will double this one down. I just like the spot here. I think that the Saints defense is legit. I don't think the Colts necessarily score as many points as they did last week. Like Gardner Minshew looked pretty good, threw for over 300 yards. I don't think that necessarily happens again. And that's kind of where my trust in analysis of this game kind of lives and dies. Like, I don't trust this New Orleans offense. The only game in which they look like stellar offensively, which they got a win last week in the Patriots, but against a Patriots team that has stunk. They scored 34 points against. Prior to that game, with the exclusion also of last game, they had not even breached 20 points yet, but they are holding opponents right around that, 17 to 21 mark, which Indianapolis, if you look at their games, it's kind of crazy. They're scoring like 21 to 23 points or 20 to 23 points, like every game, just with a couple outliers there, which is kind of interesting to note there. So I like that the Saints defense can kind of hopefully bring that Colts offense back down to earth after scoring, 38 points last week, and then New Orleans can kind of just do what they've been doing offensively. That's it. I went out of order. It's now your turn.
Ev, I can't. Again, I hate that it's this case, but I can't hate on. I can't hate on your pick. I really can't. That was one of my picks. If I was going to go under, you did say under, just to confirm, so we don't have a repeat of last week. You did go under. I don't hate the double down spot either. Look, the Saints, they're a good. Not only are they a good defense, but they're matched with an ugly offense. So like points don't come in tandem for that team.
Yep.
So they don't give up a lot of points. They don't score a lot of points. And the Colts, they have a solid, like I said, solid defense, and offensively, it's a guard. And I like Gardner Minshew personally, but let's be honest, it's a Gardner Minshew offense. Uh, I don't see this being a shootout. I agree with you. I think that's a good under spot. I've been struggling a little bit. I'm actually happy that you went out of order because it gave me a little
All
more
right,
time
for my
to
third
assess.
pick, I'm gonna go.
It gave me a little time to assess here because I honestly, I
Oh
didn't want a
man.
total. I did not want any totals today because I hate the totals this week. I really do. But if I have to take a total, I'm gonna go Thursday night. Bills Bucks under 42.5. These are two. The Bucks defense solid. Bucks offense not so solid lately. And for the Bills defensively, they're normally solid. Right now, though, they're really banged up. That Patriots game was unbelievable. The fact that they played that poor. The Patriots looked anemic on offense, and then they just go off on them. That last drive, they did whatever they wanted. And I just think the Bills' offense right now, they are in kind of shambles. Like they're back to the Josh Allen rookie year offense, which is the Josh Allen superhero offense, where we're not going to run plays, we're not going to be methodical or anything. We're just going to put the ball in our quarterback's hands and let him figure it out. And that's kind of what their offense has been. And with that comes reward and a lot of risk. And with Josh Allen, some of these plays he makes are unbelievable, and it's why he's one of the best quarterbacks in the game. But there's a reason why offenses have run the way they've run for 50 plus 100, 50, 60, 70 years, because it works. And the Bills, I don't know what it is. I don't know why offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey, why he does this. Like, it's almost just like he doesn't believe in his own script. And he just kind of throws it out very early on and just says, all right, Josh, you take us home. And sometimes it works. Like I said, sometimes you'll have games where he, that Giants game, that throw that he had, that touchdown was unbelievable, right? I mean, they made some crazy throws in that game. I think it was the touchdown. There was the throw like in that last Bills drive where he put it like off balance, cross body, in between two defenders, like pinpoint accurate. And it's like, wow, when he does it like that, it's crazy. But then you also have moments like in the opening drive of the Pats game where he throws the first throw a pick. You know what I mean? And like that's what you give or take with it. So I don't think 42.5. You can get that on FanDuel right now. Like I see DraftKings that you get it at 42. Obviously, 42.5 is a better spot. I just don't see points coming here. Like I really don't. If points are going to be scored, it's going to be scored by Buffalo. And the way their offense is playing right now, I just don't. This is not a bad Bucs defense. Like they're going to put pressure on Josh Allen. I don't see a lot of points happening here.
Similar quarterback. They kind of, I mean, they ultimately got the win, but when they played the Eagles, they forced Jalen Hurts to make some bad mistakes, tipped balls, interceptions, fumble, that type of thing, which I could see Josh Allen doing. I saw something, and I just did the math here to make sure, but I saw it on the TV. They ran 65 plays on Sunday against the Patriots. Josh Allen touched the ball, or was either threw it or ran it himself in 50, or was it? It's something crazy. 41, 58 of those plays, something like that. It's like an absurd where it was only like 10 plays in which he was not either passing the ball or running the ball himself, which if he's asked to do too much, there is a level of, as good as he is, there is a level of Josh Allen's going to Josh Allen. That's been a saying. He's going to make mistakes. And this is a Bucs defense in which you don't necessarily want to do that. I think they're a top 10 defense in causing interceptions to quarterbacks too. So I mean, in terms of my Thursday night picks video and stuff too, I've definitely thought about the under in this one. I would say the over, especially in primetime spots, hasn't been too friendly this year. You have that on your side, right? And I don't know what this Tampa Bay offense is. They've scored 19 points in the last 2 games. They scored 11 points 4 weeks ago. They had one good game, and it was against New Orleans, in which it was kind of an uncharacteristic defensive game against New Orleans. So I don't hate the spot here. I don't know if I love that we're 4 picks in and haven't been at each other's throats yet. I don't know what that means.
All the picks. It's crazy.
But I do like this spot. The only thing is if just Josh Allen gets hot, it could be like a 4 touchdown game for him, something crazy.
Yes.
I don't like that. He has the ceiling that could, like, it's almost the same thing with the Dolphins, right? It's like if you take an under, there's a chance. I mean, I hit it was in my picks video. I hit the under in the Philly and Dolphins game too, which,
Well, I had that last week. That was
yeah,
one of my
you
H2H
like, that's what I was
picks.
going to say. Yeah. So we were both on the same, like page there, but there is always that ceiling that kind of scares you. But, we've done it before. Fading that public easy pick is hard to do, but definitely worth doing. I think you're doing it here.
Yeah, like I said, I just think this is primetime unders. Like you hit it right in the head. Primetime unders, they've been really successful this year. And Josh Allen, this could be, that's the thing with Josh Allen. I feel like this year and the last 2 years, he's either the best quarterback in the league and he's putting 3 or 4 touchdowns in the game, or you have a game like the last 2 weeks versus the Patriots and Giants where he's turning it over and he makes some really bad decisions. Yep. And the thing that stinks with Buffalo is, like, they really need another, I know they're not going to get Brian Daboll back, but, like, they need that. Like, they need that guy who can rein him in, because when you let him go off the leash like this is what you get. It's just inconsistent, and where I also like the Bucks here in terms of, like, the score being under is the fact that they're going to stop the run. Now, the Bills don't run the ball much as it is, like you said. James, they have a good young running back in James Cook. They don't really utilize him as much as they should. They don't run the ball much anyways, but even if they try to run the ball, this Bucks defense is going to stop that, and it's going to force Josh Allen to play hero ball, which, and like I said, with the way he's been playing lately, that's actually what I think the Bucks want. That I think they want him to do his typical hero ball stuff, because it doesn't work a lot. Like, a good majority of the time, he makes mistakes. So I like the under here Thursday Night Football. It's destiny. They have to be ugly games. I don't know why the NFL. In a perfect world, in a perfect world, there is no Thursday Night Football, because it is the worst, hands down. Like, the worst games every week are like Thursday night. It's crazy. But it's just you can't get a good, and this is a matchup between two teams that on paper it doesn't really look like a fun matchup. So I don't see points happening here. I see a lot of ugly. I see a lot of turnovers, sacks, bad plays, a lot of incompletions. It's going to be kind of an ugly game. So like I said, I think the under is a pretty good spot to take here.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's see. We got round number 3. Do you want me to go first, as if we did that in correct order, or do you want to go first?
No, go like we did, like normal. Like, we're gonna act like you didn't mess up there.
Okay, good. We'll edit it. Can't do that. All right. I don't know what I want now, but let's spin the wheel and see what we got. We still have the new underdog spread on there, waiting for that to pop up, because that's an interesting one.
Have not gotten it yet. I want a spread. I'm ready for a spread. If we get hit with a total, I might cry, because I don't have any more. Money line.
Money line. All right. I think I like this money line pick. I think I like it.
Boy.
This one, again, maybe I'm kind of crazy that I feel like it's too easy. I'm definitely paying a little bit of juice, and based on the team that I'm betting on, I don't totally love doing that. Looking at the Houston Texans money line for -148 against the Carolina Panthers. The only thing that's really doing this is that the Panthers just stink. But talk about, like, again, seems too easy. Could this just be like a weird Panthers finally get a win, they're at home type of spot? That's where I just get a little weirded out here. So I am going, again, that's decent. Like, I don't like betting the Texans and having to pay -148, right? Like, that seems a little bit too much, but I think it's a good spot for them.
Yeah. Houston's a frisky team. I like him a lot. CJ Stroud has been playing really well. I think he's the best quarterback in this class. He's proven it so far. Richardson might have a case next year when he comes back healthy. But right now it's Stroud by far. And this is a fun Houston team. They play with a lot of grit. D'Amico Ryans is the head coach. Has done a great job. And they're playing a Panthers team that, let's face it, they're the worst team in the league. There really is no hope here. I think Bryce Young, I know it might be too soon to call him a bust. I've never been a fan of his in college. I didn't think he should have been the number 1 overall pick. If you put him in this draft class, he's probably and then this year's with like Caleb Williams and Drake May, I don't even think he's top 5. Like, I would take Williams, May, Penix, Bo Nix. I'd even take J.J. McCarthy from Michigan over him, truthfully. I'm not a Bryce Young guy. I'm really not. So I don't believe in them, this Panthers team. They don't really have much going. They have a couple of good players here and there, like Adam Thielen on offense. He's been playing unbelievable. They have Brian Burns on defense, their pass rush. Really good edge rusher. J.C. Horn's a solid young core. Like, if you go through the roster, you can find a couple of decent players here and there. But overall, this is not a good football team. The Texans are also coming off a bye. They're both coming off
Yep.
of buys, I think. But I just think Carolina. I just don't know how they're going to beat football teams. I just really don't see how. I don't think they're going to go 0-17. They'll win a game somewhere, but I don't think it's going to be here.
Yeah, I hope not. I mean, because 0 and they'd be 0-7, right? Like that
Yeah.
just seems that's a hell of a lot different than 0-6. So that's the only thing that skews me out. But again, if this was like the number one thing is that -148. Like I don't think that's really good return on my investment for a Houston team that I agree. Like I think they're gritty. I like what they have. They also could just drop a game at any moment because they're not like. I don't mean to rag on them here, but they're not like solidified yet. You know what I mean? Like this could all be a flash in the pan. Like, does the bye do them dirty? And like all of a sudden they come out kind of like, oh, I thought we were on a roll. 3 of our last 4, blah, blah, blah. I'm hoping that's not the case because obviously I'm taking Texans, but I could see like this all being a facade with the Texans. And then this is that, oh, the Panthers pick up a game type of spot. Hopefully it's not the case though.
I don't think so. And the only reason I don't think so is because this is not. If you look at a team like Carolina, they're a lot like. I mean, you can go back to previous Browns teams. These kind of football teams like Carolina, where they're going to get their win or wins. I don't think they're going to win multiple. To be honest, this team screams 1-16, maybe 2-15.
Bad.
Where they're going to get their wins is not against a team like Houston, because Houston, they're like you said, they're not solidified. They are still trying to build themselves, so they're hungry. They play with grit. They don't have the swagger of like, oh, we're a good team, because they haven't earned that right yet. Where Carolina is going to get their wins is from teams that are good teams that are sleepwalking. You know, like a team like I could see, a team like maybe even Seattle. I mean, Seattle and them already played, so that's not a good example. Like I could see the Cowboys, kind of what they did against Arizona, right? Coming in, kind of sleep with, taking them for advantage and saying, oh, it's the Panthers. We don't have to put in extra work, and then they come out hungry and they punch them in the mouth, and I thought we were gonna get against Miami, right? Because they jumped up to a 14-0 lead.
Yep.
It kind of looked like that was the spot, but Miami's offense is just unbelievable. So they got rid of it quick. But that's the kind of game where the Panthers are gonna win, when they play a team that's they're a good football team. They're unsuspecting. They're like, oh, we're playing Carolina. We're not gonna over game plan, and they'll catch them by surprise. The Texans are not that. The Texans are a gritty team. Yep. They come in every week trying to fight. This is not the kind of team Carolina can beat, truthfully. So, good pick again.
Mark your calendars. Thank you. Mark your calendars for November 19th. Panthers, Cowboys. Panthers at home. There you go. There it is.
Like I said, it's gonna be a
Tasos whisperer.
It's gonna be a game like that. Like that's the thing. Like it's not gonna be against these kind of gritty teams that are fighting every week, because these teams, they don't have, like I said, these coaches, these players, they don't have the benefit of like the Bills, for example. Buffalo can lose some games because of the Bills. You know what I mean? So like the world's not going to fall. For the Texans, they lose a couple games, and players get cut, they get traded, coaches get fired. Like they're not in a spot where they're safe. No one on that roster besides maybe CJ Stroud is safe. So they're all fighting for their careers, for their jobs, for the future of the team. So I think the Texans are a really good spot here.
Let's go. All right, who do you got?
I didn't love any of the money lines, but I'm going to keep riding, because this team, man, they are my darling this year. Give me Seahawks money line -164 against the Cleveland Browns. You know what? I've been burned only once by them so far this year. Only once. And I'm going to keep riding them. I've won 3 weeks of this show riding Seattle. Got to do it again. Like the Browns coming off a win. They should have probably lost that game to the Colts. That was a wild game. The fact that 77 total points were scored in a Browns-Colts game, like what a crazy over. I wanted to see what the total was for that game, just because I think it was like 30 or 40 points over what people thought it was going to be. It was crazy. Deshaun Watson's probably not going to play. Even if he did, I actually think if Deshaun Watson played, I'd like the Browns even less. He's been terrible. I think this defense got exposed a little bit last week, and I think we're starting to realize that the historic start was more about who they were playing versus how. I mean, it's still a solid defense. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think they're as good as we thought they were. And offensively, this team is just Jerome Ford's out, Deshaun Watson's out, so you're on your third running back in old man Kareem Hunt. And you got, XFL legend PJ Walker running the show. Like there's not enough here offensively, and the Seahawks defense is not bad. And offensively, Seattle has the weaponry. Even if DK Metcalf doesn't play, They have the firepower to make things difficult for Cleveland. So it's not, they're not gonna. I actually like the money line a little bit more than the spread because I could see this being another 2 point game. But I do think Seattle has the win here.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say that this being a 3-point spread would be the number that I'd turn off from I guess Seattle in general. But money line, yes. Also, we both took kind of not heavy favorites, within the field goal range. But money line odds go quick once you get in that range. -164, decent amount of juice to be paying. But this does not seem like a Browns team that has it all together. They're losing people left and right. It seems like that is not to go off of vibes, but it seems like they're one injury away again every single week, and it's like things just aren't working out. Ever since Nick Chubb blows up his knee, it's kind of like, okay, the Browns season is over. Deshaun Watson stinks. He gets injured, comes back, stinks, gets injured again. Like this just it just is not the Browns season. And not talking Super Bowl here, but this seems like it could be a Seahawks season. You know what I mean? Like they're playing good football here. So I like them in this spot as well, which Tasos, that's 6 picks now that we're
on the same page
kind of seeing eye to eye on, which is a little weird.
Yeah, this is like is this our Halloween episode, I guess, will be next week, but it kind of feels like we're in the Twilight Zone here, like we're just getting along and all the picks are on the same, we're all agreeing, and I really I can't poke any logic into your picks today, but this especially with the way the NFC is this year, like a lot like the Niners are starting to prove that okay, they're still a good team, but there's definitely holes there. They're not invincible. The Eagles, yes, they're 6-1, but I think they've also proven Jalen Hurts looks a little banged up. Like the NFC, as top heavy as it is, it's kind of wide open. And so a team like Seattle, they could make I don't want to say like you said, I don't want to say Super Bowl, but they could make the playoffs and maybe win a game or two, get to the NFC Championship.
Yeah, they could take out one of those front runner teams is how I would put it. Like they could make things picture a bracket type of spot, right? Like they take out one of the heavy hitters, and then all of a sudden maybe one of those other heavy hitters still kind of walks to the Super Bowl. But I think Seattle has a strong chance to make things interesting.
Yeah, if you had to rank the NFC teams, I still think the Niners. I think the Eagles are 1, the Niners are 2, but it's really close. I just think the Niners, the Brock Purdy thing is really interesting. I would go Eagles, Niners, Cowboys, and then I would go Seahawks 4. Truthfully.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I mean, even the Cowboys, I believe in the Cowboys because I do think they have a legit defense, but that is we've seen them, maybe the 49ers were that good, or maybe it was a off week for the Cowboys, but that was a pretty damning game, that Cowboys game. That 42-10. You know what I mean? That's sour in my mouth, but.
And the Lions lost to Baltimore this week. I'm not out on them completely, but that also, when I look at the Lions and the Seahawks, and by the way, Seattle beat Detroit in the season. I personally right now would take Seattle over Detroit. So Detroit would be my 5th team if I had to rank the teams in the NFC. But I think Seattle, there's a case to be made that they're the third or 4th best team in this conference, which is kind of crazy to think about.
I mean, you're turning me into a believer the amount you're picking them, but they're winning for you. So how can we not?
They've been a darling for me this year.
Yep. But all right, so we're on to the fade me round here. If you don't know what the fade me round is, we'll spin the wheel for the last time of the show. Whoever it lands on, they get to make a pick. It could be anything: player prop, spread, total, money line, anything. The other person has to take the opposite. They have to fade the pick. And Tasos has been a fade me sniper this year. We have had a pretty damn good run of Fade Me being successful. I think only 2 weeks out of the 7 so far. So I would say 5-2 to whoever wins this Fade Me round gets that round 1 in our show here. So definitely very important.
I want this so bad because I have a pick that I love so much.
Oh, man.
We haven't been able to get it, and I want it so badly. So I'm really, really, really hoping I get it this week. I know because I want it so bad it won't happen, but there's a pick that I love so much. So I'm really hoping the wheel gods get me here.
All right, let's spin it.
Oh, come on. Come on.
I think you're going to get it.
Come on, please.
Oh, by a hair. You're going to get it. Yep.
All right.
Oh, I don't love that. I don't love how confident you are in that.
Oh,
I don't love that.
I have been antsy all episode long because I want this pick so bad. And once you hear it, you're gonna be like, really? That's the one you wanted so bad? But I love this pick. I'm gonna double down on it too. That's how much I love it. I'm gonna take the risk. I'm gonna double down. I am going for fade me. Give me
Wait,
the
hold
Dallas
on,
Cowboys.
but I don't put 2 units on my fade me, right?
No, you don't have to. No, no.
Okay.
Yeah,
Go
only
for
I
it.
put the 2 units down. Yeah.
Yep.
Give me the Dallas Cowboys -6.5 against the LA
Woo.
Rams. Double down on it. Lock it up. I love this pick so much. I think the Cowboys win this game by 2 touchdowns or more. I think they blow the doors off this Rams team.
What do you got for
This
odds?
is let me double check. I had it at -110 earlier, but the line is constantly moving. Let me just do
I got -104 FanDuel as the best available right now.
We'll take that.
Wow. Oh, yeah. Okay. Locked in. Doubling down to -10. All right, Tasos. What's your spiel? Because that is we talk about dropping nuts on the table with picks. That is one.
This is the worst matchup for the LA Rams they could possibly have. And for the Cowboys, these are the kind of games where they make their money. Is these kind of matchups. The LA Rams offensive line, bottom 10 in the league in my opinion. I don't have the metrics in front of me, but I'm watching them. They're not very good. The Cowboys pass rush are going to eat this Rams offensive line alive. Micah Parsons is going to be breathing down Matthew Stafford's neck all game long. This Cowboys defense is going to feast in this game. And on the flip side, the Rams defense, their biggest strength is their defensive front with Aaron Donald and everything. And they're going up against the top 5 offensive line in the Dallas Cowboys. My biggest thing here where I hate the Rams in this game is that their biggest strength on defense gets neutralized, right? Because where their defense eats and where it strives is their ability to rush the quarterback. That doesn't work when you're going against an offensive line like the Dallas Cowboys. Like Aaron Donald is not going to be able to just have his way this game, right? So the Cowboys, they're going to be able to give Dak enough time in the pocket to make some plays. And the Rams secondary is nothing to write home about. On the offensive side, the Rams, where do they succeed? Throwing the football. Where do they struggled this year? Look at the Bengals game. Look at the losses last week to the Steelers. They struggle when they play these defenses that can bring pressure. Last week it was T.J. Watt. And the Bengals lost, it was Trey Hendrickson.
Yep.
Yes. I lost the name for a second. The Bengals pass rusher. They have struggled when they play these defenses. The Niners game they lost. That Niners pass rush, right? They have struggled when they play these defensive fronts that can bring pressure. And the Cowboys might have one, if not the best, definitely top 5 pass rush in the league. They're going to have Matthew Stafford on his ass all game long. Kyron Williams is out hurt. They're not going to be able to establish the run. They're going to have to throw. Now, they have weapons, right? They have all these great receivers. I think Stafford's going to be under pressure all day long. I love the Cowboys. You're coming off a bye week, too. The Rams coming off a tough loss to the Steelers, a very physical game against Pittsburgh. The Cowboys are rested. They had a week to prepare. They've had a lot of time. Well, actually, no, they're not off
Yeah.
Are they off a bye week?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they played the Chargers on Monday night.
Monday night,
yeah. So so they're rested. They have, they're coming off that Chargers win. I think the Cowboys feast here. I think they go crazy on the Rams here.
Which, if I'm not mistaken, the Rams have a bye the following week too. I could be wrong there, but that's also a recipe for they're looking to slide into the bye. I can say that I don't hate your pick. I think that it is a big number though. That's a ballsy 1 fade me and 2 double down pick. So I don't want to necessarily I don't think yet again I don't really see the poking the holes as an option for me here because I just told you that I believe in that Cowboys defense. I do. And it's just the number. I'll put it like this. My feelings on this is I don't hate taking the Rams +6.5. You know what I mean? Would I bet that myself? No, I'd be on your side of it, in terms of my personal pick. So I can give you that nod. It's a heavy number there, -6.5 in a fade me round and doubling down. This is like a monumental H2H moment here, but I couldn't agree more with most or pretty much everything that you're saying. This is a Cowboys, they should look at this game and say, this could be our, let's pad our stats. Let's get 1 million sacks, which Matt Stafford is not necessarily looking forward to that. He's going to go in probably feeling timid. Again, he just wants to get to the bye week. The team wants to get to the bye week. Yeah, I don't hate this. I don't hate this one whatsoever, but I also don't hate having the 6.5 points. Like, I don't love the Rams, especially they let me down last week, but 6.5 points is 6.5. You're getting a good number there, right? If it was 7.5, maybe you still like it, but I don't know how double down-ish and fade me you are on it. But, we'll watch it. A touchdown wins this one for you. Double down on it. And what's crazy is that the double down, you're always inventing the strategies in the fade me round. If you double down, you essentially put yourself in a crazy position to win the week, right? You double down on the fade me. If you win it, it's a 3-unit swing essentially.
Yep.
So don't hate it. Don't hate it.
And here's the thing. And one of the reasons I like this a lot too, another reason I like this a lot. I almost took an alternate line.
Yeah, one of the reasons.
I almost took an alternate. I almost took them like -9.5. I think they're going to dominate.
Really?
Here. I thought about it, but I'm going to be a little safer and take the 6.5. When you look at their wins this season, they've blown out the Jets, one of the worst offensive lines in the league. They blew out the Giants, one of the worst offensive lines in the league. They blew out the Patriots, one of the worst offensive lines in the league. The only game they haven't won by a blowout was the Chargers game, and even in that game, the Chargers offense was kind of shaky. So when you look at 3 of their 4 wins, when they have played an offensive line, and I would say the Rams' offensive line is about on par with that of the Giants and the Jets and the Patriots. It's not much better, right? If it's better, it's barely better. Matthew Stafford's been under pressure this year. When the Cowboys play, and it doesn't matter who's behind quarterback, when they play an offensive line like that, they have dominated and controlled the game. And I just think that this is a matchup. And like I said, defensively, the Rams aren't a bad team, but it's Aaron Donald and a bunch of guys who are not really household names. You know what I mean? Like, they're not, this isn't the Rams defense from a couple years ago. People forget they blew it up in the offseason. They traded Jalen Ramsey. They cut Bobby Wagner. They kind of were entering a rebuild, and because they still have some talent, they've been competitive and won some games. But this is a team about to enter a rebuilding era, and they've been competitive, and they've been a nice story this year. But I think this is the matchup where and these are the kind of games, and I can't wait because I love when you can root with Cowboy fans, because when you're a temporary Cowboy fan, it's so much fun because they are a fun fan base. If you're only there for the wins, it's a great time. But then you hop off. You hop off before the tragedy comes, right? And so it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'll be on Twitter with Cowboy fans active this week for this game, and I'm happy because here's the thing. Well, I can already see it happening. Actually, let me pull up their schedule real quick because I could see Dallas winning this game in a blowout, right? And then who do they play next week?
Eagles.
Yeah, there you go. They're gonna blow out the Rams, and everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, wait a second, were we off the Cowboys a little too soon?" All the national media, Stephen A. Smith, they'll all be, "Oh, were we a little too soon?" Skip Bayless is gonna be, "How about them Cowboys?" and going crazy, and then they play the Eagles, and they're gonna get beat bad, and it'll go back to the Cowboys. There's a graphic, there's a meme on Twitter, and it's the circle of life for a Cowboy fan, and it's like win big in a couple games. Build hype, play a good team, lose, go back to hating yourself, win another. You know what I mean? It's just a circle of life for Cowboy fans.
Oh, yeah.
And this is one of those games where I think they're going to win big, and all of Cowboy Nation is going to be bought back in and be like, "Oh, you know what? How about them Cowboys? We're one of the best teams," and then they're going to play the Eagles, and they're going to get stomped. So that's my prediction. So I love the Cowboys.
I think that has such a strong chance of just if history is history and it's going to repeat itself, that's what'll happen. It's perfect that they're playing the Eagles. It's perfect that they're playing the Eagles.
And that's why I said, let me check the schedule so I could see who they're playing. I'm like, oh, that is, and it could not, and it's in that 4:30 slot, not necessarily prime time, but basically a prime time game. Yeah, that was love that pick. But, I love the Eagles. All right, well, I'm already prepping for H2H week 9.
You're already betting that. But all right, guys. Well, we do have a couple new things. We both used our double down this week. Tasos went with it in the fade me round, which is a huge swing. You do that that's a three unit swing. I guess technically either way, about 3 unit swing either way there. We'll see how that plays out. I hate that I'm gonna have to root for the Rams. I don't hate it because 6.5 is a decent. If they keep this game somewhat close, there's a chance for garbage something or other. But I like your picks, Tasos. I like my picks. This is weird, but it's weird that even your fade me made me kind of like both sides of it. Like, I don't even know how to feel about that. Like, I don't hate the Rams plus 6.5. I like the Cowboys minus, like, I don't know what's going on in this brain, but nonetheless, should be an interesting week here on the H2H show. If you guys are watching, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button as well. I need to get back on the win train. I haven't been able to string 2 wins together. I can't string 2 together without getting 1 on the board. So hopefully this is a good spot. Again, that double down could really change things this week. So yeah, any last words for the people?
How about them Cowboys?
Love it. All right, we'll catch you guys in the next one.